So this is another report from Devoted and Disgruntled, and you would have seen I started with a picture for you of what's happening on the floor here in Shoreditch Town Hall. And you probably saw some cushions that help people to kneel down, not too much on the hard ground, but you would have seen pens and you would have seen paper, because Devoted and Disgruntled, the annual gathering organised by Improbable Theatre, is in open space. And you can look open space technology up on the internet and you'll immediately get some great definitions of it. But it's essentially a different kind of conference, in this case exploring what are we going to do about theatre and the performing arts. That's been the question that's been posed for the last 21 times. It's D&D 21. What are we going to do about theatre and the performing arts has been considered for 2 days by I think well over 100 people, because whoever comes are the right people, and you can come and go to this event, and the agenda is created in an opening circle each day, and it fills out this timetable that we're going to go and have a look at. They actually call it the space-time matrix. I think a bit of humour here, but we are in a kind of space-time matrix all the time, aren't we? We've got a certain amount of time available and we can do it in different places. These are the principles that just describe what happens. They're invitations to let go of the traditional conference format where everything is set in advance. Here it's not. Here people go to that centre of the room, pick up a microphone and say, I would like to address that question, and you can interpret it as widely as you like, and lead a session, run a workshop, have a conversation, explore something. I would just like a conversation to take place. Maybe we just generate questions. Everything's recorded over there on in different ways, and reports of the sessions. So people host sessions and the agenda fills up. And it's self-organised. The whole conversation isn't imposed. It's not an imposium, it's a symposium. And so people have been coming here from all over the UK, some beyond, to explore that question that they are restless about. So there are breakout groups then. They've got interesting names. Here's one called Squid. And literally we just go into circles. There are other spaces in the room for more quiet conversation, and we address that question. And we're here now on the final day, but before we get to the final day Monday, which is an invitation to go beyond a lot of what is conversation and really ground this in action and commitment, so the space will open again. I just wanted to kind of show you a lot of the sessions that took place. They're all bundled together here, but they were organised by day. And I was here yesterday for day 2 and taking part in some really powerful conversations. There were conversations about, the one that really stuck out for me was one around how do you thrive when everything's on fire around you. And some people would say the world's on fire at the moment, and you can be on fire when you don't get your funding applications in and when you're going to melt down in other ways. And that was a really positive thing, and it went beyond sort of just some of the big headline things we always say around how we deal with that, and that is about how you define success. And we took the metaphor of a fire and just pointing out the paradox that no one wants a fire, and yet fires purge. Fires in nature help nature reset itself. They can create fertile ground. And then I posed a question around trying to be respectful to how devastating fires physically and symbolically can be for people, but are we disrupting ourselves enough, or are we just responding to the disruption around us and going into stability and just trying to be okay? But what about the creative preservation that sometimes helps us become who we are and create brilliant work? There are lots and lots of other spaces that took place. I'm just going to pick up a few from this list. Actually, one group had play Let's Be Silly, because we can get too serious, and it looked like a really energised workshop. But just to give you a flavour of what people are asking, there were lots and lots of really simple questions being asked, like how do we make theatre actually politically? Producers, designers, makers, what would be great way of budgeting for design? That session by Amelia. Admin versus neurodiversity. Dancing in public spaces. There was one I saw about barbershop quartets. Really, this one often comes up. Crowdfunding, how do I get to do it? And there was a conversation there. I'm looking at a couple of others, the ethics of recasting. There's a new actor centre in Brighton, and somebody just wanted to share what that was about and explore how people and what they might want from that, because the actor centre originally was shut down. stage managers, technologists, let's talk. There's a lot of, I think it's high quality networking that goes on at Devoted and Disgruntled. I was left with a sense that a new generation is emerging here, and the behaviours are interesting. There used to be a huge amount of tweeting happening and social media at Devoted and Disgruntled, and we used to have, I think, even a big screen that would just show all the tweeting that was going on, and there was live messaging from the event. I saw almost no social media activity, and I think it's a good thing. People's energy was focused in the room, and that made the conversations, I think, more present and more intense as well. As we come towards Monday, the invitation is to particularly focus on action. And so there's just one here that's already been moved, breaking silence. How do we speak out about what has been silenced? And I sense there's a huge amount of silence going on in the world at the moment, and people are actually silenced by the just sheer amount of information overload and hype from the world of AI. And there was a session yesterday also trying to find that authentic dialogue about how AI can actually assist and help and enhance, and where it's actually diminishing, degrading, replacing. And already with news like voiceover actors are finding less and less work as AI voiceover, music writing and so on is just sort of taking that work away. But where can it help? And there were conversations about how perhaps it does save time and free us up to do other things. I don't think any firm answers were there, but it was a genuinely rich conversation that took place. I'm just walking around this space at the moment. You can probably see the circle of chairs, and the circle will be opened by Fayley McDermott, who holds the space. So essentially they invite us to come and step to the centre and fill up. You can see it's beautifully empty. There are two sessions today, session 1 and session 2. It finishes early afternoon, and hopefully it's going to be, there always are, lots and lots of sessions around how do we act in order to address the question, what are we going to do about theatre and the performing arts? So I wonder how that seems to you, a self-organised conversation, not one that is set in advance. To trust that when we self-organise, when we get into a circle, we have the skills, the curiosity, the energy to address big questions like the one that's posed here. So I shall be here for one more day, then I'm heading home to Brighton, to the various festivals, Brighton Fringe, Brighton Festival, and a few others happening throughout May in Brighton. But I'd be coming here every year, I think selfishly, because I get a lot out of it, but also feeling I want to be part of whatever occurs too. Just finishing with the outcome. These are the reports. We also have, as you can see here, a graphic facilitator who's sharing what took place too. And all of that's available online. You can go and visit devotedanddisgruntled.com. I think I will put the QR code and hold it there for a minute. And that's where you can read all the reports online as well. So that's Devoted and Disgruntled. If you weren't here this year, it'll be back next year, and I invite you, I'm sure lots of other people, to come and be part of this if you're restless to address the question, what's to be done about theatre and the performing arts.